WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century.
Good morning, everyone. It's Professor Schwartz yet again, coming to you from the ground floor of the WSTKS-FM Worldwide studios here in the Collaborative Cafe with my usual mug of dark roast coffee and Onyx the cat gazing at me from across the table. Welcome to Week 6 of the course. Okay, your student learning team submitted its first major project last Friday evening, and you're probably wondering what to do next. On that note, let me ask you this. How smoothly did your student learning team work together during the development of collaborative project number 1? What worked well, and more important, what challenges came up during your collaboration? With those questions in mind, let's consider 3 steps that you can take to streamline and improve your team practices as we move further into the course. We'll begin in one moment. Welcome back, everyone. When it comes to addressing collaborative challenges, there are 3 steps that your student learning team can take to streamline and improve its work together. Here we go. Step 1, sit down together in real time and refer back to your list of core team values and team contract created in Week 3. Look closely at how team practices and work habits during the completion of collaborative project number 1 aligned with the points laid out in those 2 documents. Where did team practices inadvertently diverge from those same points? Were all team members involved from start to finish in the decision-making process as you carried out the work behind your team project? Was there ongoing and mutual support of each other during that process? Take an honest look at your team work habits now. Have a frank conversation about what your expectations were and how the team met or did not meet the values and expectations that you outlined during Week 3. Keep in mind that before your team can make informed decisions about how and where to improve its collaborative practices and work habits, it's necessary to review the early documents that you created together to assess both your strengths and apparent weaknesses that have emerged since then. Step back for a moment and take a realistic look at just how cohesive and efficient your team actually is. It might be that you need to put your heads together and collectively determine how best to revise your approach moving forward. And that's a normal part of the collaborative process. Step 2, take off the rose-colored glasses and have a civil yet frank discussion as you self-evaluate and diagnose the apparent weaknesses of your student learning team. Hey, it's great to identify and revel in team successes, but it's also useful to examine areas that need improvement and consider how you might work together to achieve that. Adopt a realistic perspective, in other words. With that aim in mind, how was your communication within your team? Did you delay starting your work together for any reason? Did some members keep everyone else waiting until the last minute? And how did your team handle any unexpected developments like these? Even if things went reasonably well for your team in the work that led to completion of your first collaborative project, It's reasonably safe to assume that there are areas where your team could still tighten up its practices too, and you don't want to ignore that. The collaborative path forward will be smoother when your team takes a hard look now at its overall effectiveness and implements any changes necessary before moving forward with your other collaborative activities. Last of all, we come to the third step your student learning team can take to streamline and improve its work habits as we move further into the course. Look ahead to your upcoming collaborative work and determine how best your student learning team can improve its practices as you continue your weekly collaboration. Identify and detail concrete steps that your team members can take together to tighten up, streamline, and improve how you work together to complete your remaining teamwork. Integrate these revisions into the list of core values and the contract in your team's Google folder for later reference and continued discussion. Be sure to keep the following point in mind, however. Vague ideas are less helpful than specific practices that all of you can implement to improve the overall team dynamic. Instead, identify definite steps that team members can take, both separately and together, to streamline the work habits and practices of your team, making you more cohesive and efficient in the process. Nail that down, and your team will be better able to address its remaining activities this semester.
WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century. If you find this podcast helpful, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe.
And that will about do it for today's program, everyone. Before we sign off, let's quickly recap the 3 steps your student learning team can take to streamline and improve your collaborative practices. Step 1, review your list of core team values and the team contract you developed back in week 3 to determine how well current team practices align with the points outlined in both of those documents. Step 2, look at what worked well for your team during its collaboration on project number 1, and more specifically, what did not go well. Where can your team make challenges in its approach to weekly coursework to streamline its work habits? And step 3, identify specific and concrete steps that your members can take together to improve team practices. Improve team outcomes by taking these 3 steps to revisit, clarify, and revise how your team approaches its collaborative activities each week. Empower yourselves by joining me next time here in the Collaborative Cafe for additional tips, tricks, and advice based on my almost 30 years of teaching and working with thousands of undergraduates at 3 Big Ten universities, 2 liberal arts schools, and 2 community colleges across the upper Midwest of the United States. In the meantime, thank you for joining me today. I'll see you in class, online, or during Zoom office hours if you drop by with a question. Stay healthy, have a safe and a productive week. With special regards from Onyx, the cat what am. So long, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.
You've just heard a podcast from WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century.